So I've been trading the markets for 18 years now, almost 18 years. And when it comes down to my trading, I've always focused on the short-term stuff, right? Short-term trading. But we also do, as you know, right, the big wealth comes from jumping on big trends, right? Big long-term trends and holding for a long time, not just for a few weeks or a few months, right? For many years, and jumping on these massive cycles that actually happen throughout history. So what I want to do is I want to share with you two major cycles, right? We have my trading, but I want to share with you two major cycles that I see happening over the next 10 years and 20 years. So if you're in your 30s or even in your 20s, this could be one of the greatest long-term investments you can make as a buy and hold for the next 10, 20 years. And again, two different sectors I want to share with you. So let's get straight into it. Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. All right, traders, make sure you grab that free trading course, very first link in the description. And oh, by the way, when you actually click on that very first link in the description, I've actually got a bit of a free gift for you. I'm actually giving you a free trial to my coaching program. So go check that out. Very first link in the description. So here's the thing, okay? Obviously, we can look at the markets every single day, right? We have the futures markets, we have the trading markets, and most of my trading throughout my history has always been short-term trading, right? Short-term trading. And I've always been I'm looking to get in now and get out tomorrow, or get out with a few days and make really good money and make a good income, right? Make an income from trading. But one thing I've actually studied, and when you start to look at really successful people that have been around well for a long time, is that you'll notice one thing is that these people that become majorly wealthy have long-term investments, and then they also have patience, right? They also have patience with their long-term investments. So you see, and they also have the long-term game, right? They have the big long-term game when it comes to these markets here. And so while I trade, and again, in that trading course below, I'll teach you my trading system, right? I'll give it away for free. I'll teach you my trading system. And if you'd like to get more coaching from me, I'm giving away a free trial to my coaching program. So you can go all that with the link below. Okay, but that's actually trading is doing that. Now, for investing wise, for long-term trends that I believe that can build not income, but if you look at some of the major successful people, is that a lot of one of the worst things that I've done throughout my career is focus on the short-term analysis, right? And this is something that I've noticed. Listening to a lot of people out there who've been around the investing world, is that short-term gratification will kill your potential. Your need for short-term gratification will kill your potential for long-term massive wealth potential, right? Your short-term gratification, the need for that is going to kill your long-term, right? And that's what we do, right? We focus on get the money now, right? That's what it's all about, right? Get the money now. But as you would know that throughout history, there's these big long-term trends. And the thing is this, is that, we can look back, right? It's like, oh man, if we just knew at the end of 2008, the start of 2009, man, if we just knew that was going to be the bottom of the property market and the bottom of the stock market, if we bought and held for 10 years, we'd be laughing today, right? So we see these cycles in play. It's like, man, if I just bought and hold for a while, you can do really, really, really well. So what I want to talk about, again, I do two different things. I do my trading because I love my trading. I love the game. I love trading, short-term trading, get in, get out, so on and so forth. I love that because that does generate income for me. But one thing I've been working really hard on over the last 18 years, I've been trading, probably the last maybe 3 or 4 years now, maybe in a bit longer. I've been working really hard on studying macro analysis and studying as much history as possible by looking at Mark Maloney's Hidden Secrets of Money, by studying Ray Dalio's stuff, even Harry Dent's stuff, and so on and so forth. Right now, I know Harry Dent's been wrong a lot of times with the timing of stuff, but the thing is, guys, one thing I want you to understand about Harry Dent is this, is that I believe what he says is true. He's just off with the timing, that's all, right? What's happening with the Chinese property market right now is something that Harry Dent's been talking about for a long, long, long time. Right, so he does have a lot of stuff behind him. It's just off with the timing, right? Same with Peter Schiff. I believe what Peter Schiff is actually saying is true, but we got to put in the context of timing, right? So I believe there's a lot of people out there, and I study a lot of people, right? I look at everyone, and then I make my own decisions. So you look at people like David Hunter. David Hunter is calling for a melt up right now. He may or may not be right? So the whole purpose about me talking about what I'm saying there is I've studied so much about cycles and booms and busts, and especially reading Ray Dalio stuff, that I have a pretty clear picture of where we're likely to go over the next 10 and 20 years. I just don't know the timing of things. Make sense? So therefore, when it comes to investments, you're not trying to time the markets. Again, if you're a trader, when you trade the market, you look for a pattern, you look for a setup, okay? But when you're investing in the markets, and what I'm saying right now is I'm using this as a platform so you understand this is not a trading game. I'm not saying buy the stock market tomorrow. No, I wouldn't even say that anyway, right? That'd be stupid. You buy when there's a really good setup. So here is really two long-term things, two really long-term analysis that I really do see happening. The first one over the next 10 years, there's three major cycles that happen right now. The next 2 years, the next 10 years, and the next 20 years, right? The 2-year one, what's likely to happen for the next 2-year one, that's a really good investment right now for the next 2 years. I'm not going to give you that one, okay? That's actually for my private clients only. So only my private clients know exactly what I'm doing now for the next 2 years to generate potentially a few 100% return on my investment, maybe 200-300% return on my investment over the next couple of years. I'm not going to give you that one, okay? But I'm going to give you the last two, which is the 10-year and the 20-year. But again, I don't know. I say 10 and 20 year because I just don't know which ones is going to be for that. Now, if you do join my coaching program, I'll tell you what that first one is. Okay, I've got to keep some stuff for my paying clients, right? So the first one is gold, and if you think about this, forget about what you've thought about in history when it comes to the gold and so on and so forth, and what you think. Okay, forget about what you think and so on and so forth. Right now, I'm looking at a weekly chart through here on gold, and the thing is this: is that what happens to gold when we go through crisis? What generally happens? The gold goes for a big move. Why is gold starting to make a big move now? Because gold, what gold does, it actually rallies before the crisis actually happens, right? That's why we're starting to see a rally now. And you guys know you've been following my channel. You know I've been calling for this rally, and I got that, and so on and so forth. Anyway, that's short-term analysis. This is long-term stuff, okay? So we get a rally before that. Now, here's what's going to happen, okay? We know let's look at the cycles of things. So we know that we're headed towards a massive dollar crisis. We know that we're heading towards government defaulting. Now, we don't know when, right? You can speculate. You can say, oh, it's 2024. Like, who knows, right? It could be 2030 when that happens. Makes sense? Like, it could be 2028. Like, we just don't know. We don't know the timing. So don't try and predict this is not about predicting timing. This is just about being involved with investments that when it does happen, we are now likely to be the beneficiary of that cause, which is the government defaults, the government restructuring, civil war, all-out wars, and so on and so forth, right? So the very first thing that I just see is when all that happens. Now, whether it's 2023, 24, 28, or 2030, I don't know. But when all that restructuring stuff happens, people are going to run for the hills to gold, right? And I know some people are thinking that, it's gold is worthless and blah blah blah. It's like, hang on a minute, okay? Just think about the one thing that's always had value throughout history has been what? Gold, right? Gold still has the big value behind a lot of stuff, and this is the safe haven, and it still happens to this day. So gold on itself, over the next 10 years, we could start to see a $4,000 or $5,000 print, right? Now, if I look at my weekly charts and I bring up my weekly charts from here, look at this, right? If I squeeze my charts up like this, look at this. If we then start to look at like this, what does this look like? This looks like a massive what? Ascending triangle pattern, right? A massive ascending triangle pattern. And when this starts to really break out here, the technicals is setting up like that, but the fundamentals is what? The fundamentals is setting up to what we talked about before, which was the beneficiary of the coming destruction, call it, is going to be, I believe, is going to be gold. And then on the flip side of that, I believe that the mining stocks are going to be one of the greatest investments as well too, right? That's the reason why for me personally, for the next 10 years, that 10-year view from now through to 2030, 2032, so right there, I believe gold and the mining sector is going to be doing really, really good for those reasons. And plus also, when you just look at simple cycle analysis, the last 10 years hasn't been for the mining sector, right? Mining sector has been horrible for the last 10 years. So what's probably going to happen for the next 10 years, right? It's just for you guys that have got probably more than a 5 in front of your name, if you know what I mean. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about, right? Everything just goes in cycles. Nothing just stays low forever. We're going to go through another mining boom. We just don't know when. That's the reason why I love investing in the mining sector, okay? So we can see that through there. So that's the 10-year view. Now, let's look at the 20-year view, okay? Look at this here. So the 20-year view is this. If we go look back, if we go look back and we look at the cryptocurrencies right now, okay? We look at things like Bitcoin. Here's the thing when it comes to Bitcoin, and it comes to, this analysis and what's going on from here, okay? If we have a look at all this stuff that's going on here, right, when it comes to Bitcoin and so on and so forth, when we look at all this stuff here that's happening with Bitcoin, okay? Is that Bitcoin and the cryptocurrencies and the blockchain is the new technology, right? Is the new thing. And this is generally what happens with the new thing, right? If we rewind, when was the last time we had a really good invention to the markets and we had something similar? We had what? What was that? The internet, right? So if we go have a look at the Nasdaq, we'll be able to see what? We'll be able to see this whole the boom and bust cycle, right? This is what happened when the internet really became a big boom, right? And then guess what? And then the bubble crashed, okay? But then guess what? Because it was the internet and the internet was going to be the future at that time, over the next 20 years, from 2002 to 2022, you get what I'm saying, right? That's the next 20 years. We just don't know how long it's going to play out there. So when it comes to stuff like this here, right? When it comes down to what we're seeing through here, I see similar effects happening with a lot of the top cryptocurrencies. And if we see something like what was the one stock that actually held strong throughout this boom and bust cycle in the tech sector? Amazon, right? So if we go look at Amazon right now, look at this here. This was Amazon here. Amazon boomed from like basically 45 cents up to there, back down to 20 cents. Can you imagine buying Amazon at literally 20 cents and then seeing this here? Like, look at this here. From there, and you say, you know what, this is a 20-year view, and then we get something like that. Like that we're talking just in extraordinary quality moves, right? Extraordinary quality moves because it's one of the top dogs through there. So what if over the next 10 years, next 20 years, which will be, right, the blockchain and the cryptocurrencies is here to stay. What if things like Bitcoin is going to be one of the top dogs like Amazon, or some of the other major ones like Ethereum is going to be like Amazon over the next 20 years as we start to adopt the blockchain technology and all that sort of stuff? What if, right? So as we're going through this crash here, I honestly believe this is what happened with the crash here, okay, as you can see. So this was the big crash. And then, as you can see, as time went on, it was one of the greatest long-term investments you could make over the next 20 years. Now, again, I know the need is, but John, I don't want to wait 20 years, right? And trust me, I understand it, right? This is the thing that stopped me from buying property in 2008 when the property crashed. And my mentor was screaming at me, John, this is the perfect time to buy right now. We're going to buy. And he was right, mate. He made a lot of money when it comes to those properties there, right? So the whole thing about that, once again, is that jumping on the next thing that's happening like here with Amazon. So if we go have a look at things like Bitcoin, even Ethereum, again, we don't know which one, right? So if you started to split up, maybe a 10 or a 20 or $30,000 account into some of these major cryptocurrencies as they're still crashing. I don't believe we're there yet, right? I believe Ethereum is going to get down towards this maybe $200 level again, maybe a bit lower than that. Bitcoin, I see Bitcoin getting down towards possibly even that $3,000 or $4,000 level again, right? But then guess what? what if over the next, if similar things happen with some of these top dogs, say Bitcoin, Ethereum, some of these really top dogs that are in the cryptocurrencies, what if these investments really start to play off over the next 20 years? You know, we're talking like a $5,000 or $10,000 investment being worth millions and millions and millions of dollars, right? And so therefore I wanted to share this with you to show you what I'm doing right now, and even what I'm doing for setting up for my own kids, right? My own kids don't understand this sort of stuff that I do right now, but they don't understand that I'm actually setting up a small trading account for them. And then I'm going to the real long-term stuff for them over the next 20 years is I'm going to be doing the crypto stuff for them. Probably not the mining sector stuff, or maybe the mining sector stuff, but the main thing for them is like, okay, I'm buying this right now, but you can't touch it until 20 years. You know, that means you can't touch this until 2040, right? This is a 2040 view. And they can't touch that at all. Makes sense? And then that's going to be there to help them from there. Okay. So they're the two really big long-term. I'd love to see what you think from there. Again, guys, there's no right or wrong answer to this one here. I'm just looking at history, looking at cycles, looking at when was the last time we had the greatest, like a really big invention that actually made a big impact on our lives 20 years later, which is the internet to this day. And then now we have the blockchain and so on and so forth. And I believe all this stuff is actually a good thing, right? Because it's helping become more efficient, more cheaper, and so on and so forth. Just look at the internet, right? The internet, just look at Netflix. Netflix, you what, $20-$30 a month, and you got all these movies. Back, 20 years ago, guess what? There was no Netflix, and if you wanted to spend $20-$30 a weekend just for maybe 4 or 5 movies from there. And I believe that one of the greatest longer term investments, and this is what I'm doing, right? I still have my trading account where I'm actively trading, and I trade every day. I'm actually in a trade right now. Right? I actually got into a trade on Friday. I still do that, but the longer term stuff over the next 10, 20 years, you can jump on some really big long-term trends, right? Because that's when you really make some really good income, right? Not just some short-term income, but some really good really a lot of money by looking at the longer term stuff, not trying to have instant gratification and let that go. And for me right now, it is gold, silver, and the mining sector for the next 10 years. And as the cryptocurrencies keep coming down over the next maybe over the next 6 months or so, we start to get down towards the 5,000 to even 10,000 level in the cryptocurrencies, I'm going to be setting up an account, and it's going to be called, guess what? The 2040 account, where I'm going to buy, hold, and never sell. I'm going to let that thing go. That money is completely lost and completely gone. And if I have 20, 30, maybe even a bit more in that account, by the time literally 10, 20 years comes around, guess what? That account should be worth a lot of money to me as I'm continuing to do things, right? So even if you're much younger right now, especially if you're in your 20s, if you're in your 20s right now, and by the time you hit your 40s, you want to have a really good possibility of having a lot of money underneath your hands, then this is probably the big thing I really am doing right now. Again, and obviously there's no guarantees of this, right? All the risk is obviously there. There's no guarantees of this sort of stuff happening. And so let me know what you think in the comment section below. Hey traders, I'm giving away 100% free access to my brand new breakthrough full trading course. This is 8 videos over 10 hours of pure amazing and powerful strategies. This is my most powerful systems and strategies that I've used for the last 16 years, and I'm giving it away for free. So this is what I want you to do right now. I want you to go to johnsfreegift.com, or there should be a link around here somewhere, a button or in the description or somewhere in there. Click on that and you can go get free access to my brand new breakthrough trading course. So go to johnsfreegift.com right now. Go to that right now, guys. You can get full, complete, free membership access. Go do that right now.